Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good morning. Yeah, today is what? 17th of July. Doesn't it seem like it was just June? My goodness. Well, I know I said I was going to do the masters today, but in the meantime, I broke a toe. And my fourth toe in, instead of this way, is going that way. Yeah, so it's I choose not to move into channeling today because I don't think it's a good idea. But I am here for you. Good morning, Barbara. So I was wondering if everyone understood the messages or if anyone had a question or a comment about what you received. I remember there were lots and a lot of powerful situations that came. So, and I certainly don't know what getting a broken toe means. I even haven't had the time to look at it. So it's very interesting, right? It's on my left foot, feminine foot. And yes, it was very painful. You know, we have so many light machines in the red light that it's not really in pain right now. But I can tell my body has a, and my voice, it's doesn't know what the heck is going on. Good morning, Cavell. So we can kind of pick a subject, any subject that you might want to talk about or know more about. Yes, we could have done the orb, didn't even think of that. Like I said, my brain isn't firing on every possibility today. It's like a little like in shock. And not walking normally is a little strange. And of course, I had to get a shower, and trying to get a shower with a foot that doesn't want to stand at all wasn't easy. Well, isn't that interesting, Barbara Ward? It must be toe day. What the heck does toes mean? Yeah. And you're on the right side. Well, good morning, Dorothy Snyder. My goodness. Welcome here to a day we're talking about our toes. My toe broke. Barbara's got cut. So, but I'm glad to see you coming back. Certainly, probably very different than you were here last. I was just explaining I'm not really going to channel much today because I'm still in that aftermath of my toe went from straight on my left foot to it was, when we finally got me set down, it was pointing to the left. It was frightening. I've never seen such a thing, never heard of such a thing, but I don't know what happened. I was just walking out of the kitchen, taking my plate of food in my hand, and all I remember is I can't drop all the food because I was wanting to fall, and I didn't let that happen. But my toe suffered for it. Your toes are good. That's great, Dorothy. So I did have a conversation with Metatron yesterday before this all happened. And in the aura that's given off by the earth right now, he is feeling a shift in more understanding, more caring. People are starting to look at it and like, oh, and to own and realize that all the human beings together remember, it's from all different countries. It's not only America that's a little on the edge, but a lot of them are. And he was very grateful. You get pain in your big toe. Yeah, they got to get us walking around. What can I say? I mean, we called to see if there was a toe shoe for me to walk. Well, it depends on what your injury is. So we have it taped up next to the next one to it. It did take that movement. But when we take it down, it goes right back to go. I don't know whatever's going to happen. I'm not going to a doctor. I'm not a doctor person. So I'll have to ask my naturopath tomorrow what else there is to do. So anyway, he thinks the earth is going to, it's perking up, shall I say. It's about the quality of light that is felt and held within the consciousness of first the earth, and then that's made up from the experience of the consciousness of every person that lives upon the earth. And he says it started with the whole Israel-Palestine experience, that we all had to become more awake and aware of our relationship with God. And for some people that had been lost in their history and perhaps not so, I know it feels like it's right there for us because we all live in that relationship. But in the majority of the earth plane, it's not the same situation. So he was very appreciative of all the work we do here to get reacquainted and begin to own again that we are children of God and can put our energy into that shifting back. And I know I hear often the question of people about the Bible, is it real or is it not real? Just as any conversation we have here, it's going to depend on every individual and what they believe inside. For me, I can pretty much tell you, I remember from being very little, my mother was in charge of the little people in the church, little kids. So I went with her. My brothers always did it. But it's been instilled upon me as a choice, always. I would go up to the where the minister would stand and just break down crying. And at that point, I really never understood why. Now I do, because it reminded me of the closeness I had with God inside and had forgotten. We've all forgotten all the different lives from one life to another. Something has to shake up inside of us to have us remember or rekindle that same experience in this life. So let's begin our day today. I felt bad that now you can maybe understand why. I have a little bug here in joining me. Well, it is Florida. So let's ask Mother and Father to come and sit within everybody's heart. What I want you to do is not just call that down, but feel the experience of having that in your heart. See if you can feel the energy of Mother, who's so loving and would just hug you almost to death if she could, because her heart is just so full of that magical love. And Father, who is with us every minute, whether he's carrying us or holding us, and he's still in that heart is alive within each of us. And I think that's an important piece to remember and to live. And I know their hearts have been on the healing of my toe, and I don't mean for it to sound stupid, because every wound we have is powerful. It's a lesson. Every time we have a broken heart or we're disturbed about someone or something, we get a bill, we can't pay it. Those are all things that aren't separate in our world when it comes to mother and father. They're there with us during that. And I believe that. I believe that, and calling them into that with me brings about resolution quicker, more efficiently, however you want to see it. And good morning, Jules and Cavell. How are you doing today? So I hope when we bring mother and father deep within you, you can feel the frequency for those of you who have a gift in frequency. Um, for those of you who can experience consciousness, as that part of you moves down deeper into the heart and we go into the soul experience of consciousness. I want you to really understand you're not there alone. That wonderful expression of your awareness, whether it's your intellect or your compassion for people, whatever it is, it's not being nurtured by them. It is. And as we can breathe into that soul, I'll tell you a little story, not that I'm going to be really hot-winded today. When I was on my journey, I kind of looked around and thought, oh gosh, no one's telling me how to touch my soul. Doesn't anybody know? And everywhere I would go, nobody, we don't know, you just have one. Well, I wanted to have a more explicit answer about what a soul is, what part of us is it, what does it do. And finally I found one book that found it. And now I feel like such a secret has been revealed within me. I just always want to talk about it to make sure. Have you, on your journey, understood what a soul is? Where is it? Well, I'll tell you. It's in your heart. And it's where your consciousness exists. And if you can go into that, just let yourself move down into your heart. And you'll find your way as you give that intention to sit within your soul. You're just going to feel an expansion. And all the different little levels of cells of consciousness are like little clear spheres. And you can feel like there's too many to count, too many to even try to guess. For each of us, it's different. We all have a different level of experience of the consciousness of our soul. And that is what goes out into our etheric field and goes out beyond our chakras. Who knew, right? If you're someone who's learned that your heart has a whole level around you, your throat has a whole level out around you, it's a part of your soul. And that's why when people like myself, or maybe even you, tap into someone else, you can get a feeling for what they're about and what's going on. It's because we carry that around with us to share with others, to have that take in what's going on and have a higher level of understanding of it. It's all very powerful. But the soul part's very purposeful. And for each of us, as we're growing, well, my goodness, hello, white light messenger. Many blessings to you. I'm glad to see you coming back. And Annie, and Myra, and Marby, and Jules, appreciate all of you coming. So we're talking about soul today. It kind of just evolved into that. Now there is one piece that is a layer on towards the back of who you are. And it's where you have a wall of all the patterns that you have yet to heal. And they're tied with a purple ribbon. So there's sometimes when I've worked with people, I see that come up and I know it's time to untie that ribbon and let it go. Perhaps you're someone that carries a lot of anger. You heal it. There's always another level and another level and that level if you're very serious about your journey. But when it's finally out of your consciousness, where you will no longer have to go again and heal anger, you can pull that ribbon and let it go, and you hear like an angel voices that hallelujah, you set yourself free. It's very powerful when you become curious about what is your makeup, not just the human. We know all are pretty much aware there's a heart, the stomach, and the liver. But that's all fed from this wonderful consciousness of our soul. And yes, certainly it's from many lifetimes that we've lived that it's developed. And every day it gets touched by you and perhaps by others. No, you cannot be invaded inside, but the outer aura, the outer level of consciousness of each of us can be imprinted upon. I think that's the good word. So that's why there's a caution and always about where do you go. Sometimes when you go somewhere, you come home and you're just having all these thoughts and you can feel things around you. Not a good pick, especially if I'm going to go out to the grocery where you don't know who's in there. I have a lot of protection. Actually, I pretty much live with a lot of protection around me because I don't want that. Because of who I am and what I do, want a lot of clarity always there and existent for me. But perhaps some of you might want to think about that. What are you letting touch and go through the soul experience of you that you don't even have a clue? So you can do the tube of light 3 times. You can call in Lord Gautama Buddha and his protective blue flame to surround you and protect you. There's a lot of options and protection that if you're connected to an angelic troop, you can have them to come and go with you and a lot of things. But it's one of the most important parts of you is your soul. Because just by being in a difficult place that's a lot of darkness or blackness or people who are used to doing not so nice things, you can change because we are imprintable. We are at choice on some level without our mind being in control of that. Not always a happy thing when people think about it, but let's think about that for a moment. We are a choice for sure. But if we have come to be aware of how we want our life to be, then we have also, maybe even without your awareness, have protection up from other lifetimes or somewhere that you're not able to be infringed upon. But the places that you, yes, Dorothy, Metatron is known by many names. He is known by Metatron, St. Michael. He is he who sits to the right of God. Many things. He was actually, now you're going to make me, I didn't even think about it. The one and the only earthling to ever make it that high into the heavens. He's from the Book of Light. But anyway, yes, he's many things. Very powerful. And he is the leader. I'm in the process of 7 masters gathering. The second one has been Thoth, which I knew who he was, but I believe the only other place I've known of him in this world was with Melchizedek. That's also another being that he visited. And he shares with us that he is the being who brought the wisdom inside our heart. Doesn't say the heart, he calls it the wisdom. And the third one is so far is Sanat Kumara, and he's come in with me. He's one of my universal teachers. I'm very, very familiar with him. Maybe some of you are also. And he is one who was called from Venus to come to save the Earth and brought 144,000 beings with him. So it's a gathering that's happening. And Metatron told me he was called to come to me because I was shocked because of the clarity of my voice. So every few days or a week, someone will come who's a part of that grouping, and we'll see where it's all going. So I was going to speak all three of them today, but I don't want to do it when I have such a wound on my foot. Feet are participant in your grounding. They're a participant in you standing on a very profound level of who you are. And I'm always very particular about how I am in every day, every moment, whenever I'm bringing in another soul. So let's see, is there any other questions? Well, let me just tell you, you would think of, thank you for your question, Dorothy. She's asking if they can help me heal it. You know how someone breaks a toe would usually be all blue? Well, mine has no blueness. I can actually begin to put some weight on it, and this is really quick. So I don't think I'm going to go through a long trauma with it. The trauma of it happening was enough. But I think it was to have me pay attention. To pay attention to even more than I had been to the masters that are coming. And yeah. Excuse me. So there are many phagocytes that everybody has in their energy field. You can always call forth the phagocytes. The masters speak about them. That come and will heal anything you ask them. And may take a little long, or it might not take long at all. But thank you for that, Dorothy. It's like I've resurged and looked totally different to me and myself. So thank you. I don't look 73. So what can I say? Spirit is a powerful thing. And they always have told us, and if you can remember, I've always said for a long time, that they said as you evolve, you will become 21. Well, sometimes I look at myself and I think, wow, that must really be happening on some level. Not in my query little voice, but on other parts of me. So, yes, there it goes. So the more you believe, this is my belief, the more you can bring yourself into believing and deepen that faith, the more youthfulness will come to you. If you think of all the masters, with 100 hits, they don't disappear. That's like a miniature number to all of them for their ages old. So that's why I had to start to realize that's true. You know, they look somewhat like they're 21 or 30, whatever you want to say, and they're alive and awake, and that is no longer a process that they have to contemplate. So what do you have to do? You have to love yourself, love all the pieces about you, and it's just very different. It's hard for me to explain sometimes all the processes I've been through over the years. So I figure I've been on my journey now 40 some years. So it's been a long time, and I can say I was always the curious one who had to read everything I could. especially for when it was soul. I read every book I could, and truly, hardly anything was much of an answer for me. And one of the major books I would tell everyone to read would be, I'll see, my blank's going to go again, the Masters of the Far East, Emil. And I know he's coming. He's going to be one of my 7. I just loved him. He taught people how to move through fire. So many basics that we certainly don't see that we would ever have to move through fire, but we don't know. We don't know, but if you want to get really to another depth about your spirituality, I think those are 5 great little books to read about his adventures and his belief as he was a monk and did a number of things. My teacher from Thailand would always tell us the first thing every student has to learn is about fire. Well, of course, he didn't tell us. We had to figure it out. And in the book, it teaches you what that is about fire. And you would never just think it. So I'll be another one of those teachers who say, first thing you have to learn is about fire. And it's nothing that you would even think, but it's a powerful thing. So, any other questions here as we're going along? Then there's soul families. Any group of souls, there's 1,080 in, if you want to think of it as not a bag, but a gathering. And out of every 1,080 souls, 1 will receive the Ascended Mastership. So if you know and have met people and you know the people are part of your soul family, I know that happened to me as I went. I knew, and they know we must have been there together. When I was in Colorado, I met a young woman and she knew we were there on that first experience of life and that we were there together. And again, names don't hold for me because it's more than a name when you meet someone. It's an imprint of the experience of life together. So when I think of the group that I'm in, of soul beings that I've met, it's just a powerful experience in itself. But all that comes together in that union and it's shared. Maybe some of you are in my soul family, or maybe someone you meet here on this channel is in your soul family. It's just truly amazing and a miracle when you really start to learn and study, not the basic stuff on it, but really go in to the master work and who you are, where you've been. And then when you add that what's all happening now, there's not really dimensions that we think are out there. The dimensions are all occurring now. And we may have lived on all of them already. That's why I think the extraterrestrials they don't seem strange to me. And maybe they don't seem strange to you. Maybe some of them do look a little weird, but maybe that's some part of it where I haven't yet understood. And I don't know. Lots of possibilities. I'm certainly not one to say I know everything. But certainly as things come to me and I need to know more, I will find where that is and how it is. And you begin to understand that the soul of you, this expanded consciousness, has a lot of wisdom that came from thought to remind you of all the places you've been and all where you're going. But you must have generated your awareness being prepared for that. There's those here that may be able to sit and over time write about it. And then there's those who are in the beginning that aren't ready to grasp that that's the truth of who you are. It's a huge experience that you wonder how God ever generated or thought about it. Did you ever meet someone? I can remember one day meeting this woman. She looked identical to me. And we were outside the bank. I used to be a bank teller. And we kind of were so shocked we had to share about it. And I go, well, I'm married and have 2 children. She goes, so am I. She was the exact replica. And Carol's here online. She was once with me in IKEA, and we saw me walking with a shopping cart over here. So that's 2. There are up to 16 parts of you that could be anywhere right now with just one person. So maybe you ran into someone that looks just like you. And if you were to talk to them, you would find out that their life is very similar. So just imagine 16 of you that could possibly all living on a different level. I guess I should go this way, experiencing life. And yes, I do believe there's a nebula within us where that gathers and how growth happens. It's all fascinating. Not a lot of people talk about it because a lot of people don't know. Because I know for me, it's been, I'm a digger. I need to know. I need to figure it out. Then I'll either join someone and see them that knows and it goes a little further, or a special, like when we used to go to Shasta. Dennis and I always went to the old book area, and we would love it. Some of them still I haven't looked at because we're here and a lot of our books are in a storage somewhere else. But there's going to be a day where I'm going to find even more out. Not that I don't every day. And sometimes when I'm drawn to someone who is some sort of a teacher, I'll go to them. And another whole level of not only about them evolves, but about me evolves when we realize that, well, we knew each other then. There are those people who are willing to talk about that. And we've actually had our conversation go pretty deep today, haven't we? So I hope you can, maybe there's someone, even if it's only one person, that needs to hear all these things, that we're more than just a person or a people or a human, whatever you want to call yourself. Each place we go and each place our aura and light touches is a phenomenal experience. So let's see what my good friend Barbara here wants to say. Well, I will first talk to him about it because I know it exists, but I don't know if right now I could, and I could probably, again, I'm not going to do that kind of thing today, but I will check it out and let you know. He seems, here's the word first that comes to me, very complex. But that makes sense to me because he holds a position of so many people and things, and he's never hesitant to have somebody call him something else. I've heard of Metatron for years, but it took him a while to reach me because I didn't know who it was. And then when I heard and I looked it up, I'm like, oh my goodness. Just go along living my little life. So there you go. So probably when the group gathers, I will go on. And what are they called? Some things I'm not supposed to repeat. But all of you here will know when that's going to happen. And maybe there isn't a physical person who can know all there is about Metatron, but I will ask and discover so I can tell you on Monday. He was Enoch. You'll find all about him, and I have the book here. The keys of Enoch. Yes. Because Enoch is the only physical person who's made it all the way up to the seat with God. And that is Metatron, Archangel Michael. Whatever word, he'll answer to any of them. Now, I've had and worked with Archangel Michael for ages. I'm sure a lot of you have. But I was not, even though I knew I was an angel of divine service, had never taken that step to with all the angels. Well, it was just like a whole plummeting of shifts in who I am and what I do. And I'm sure you can understand. So, I mean, I can go back and look at videos and know that I am not that person who began. And I'm sure you yourselves on your journey of evolution can see and perceive and hear the difference in you. It's hard to explain, but growing is, good morning, Lauren, is one of the most magnificent things anyone can ever do. Like, a lot of people here can tell you, my work has been a lot of specific work I do to help people heal. Now I can just talk to people and things happen. It's very different. I worked with someone yesterday, not that I worked, but I sat with someone yesterday in very integral patterns with the inner children, and all we did was talk about them. And she called me this morning to be so grateful that none of it was there. So I can't explain it other than an upliftment. That the more you become clear, the more energy you hold, the more awareness on a very high level that you have. And except for when it comes to toes, I'm going to have to sit and ask about that. But I'm sure instead of taking 2 weeks, which we heard that it usually takes, it'll be a few days. Because already I can put weight on it and not have any pain. Oh, you have a doctor's appointment today. Doctors are interesting. As you heard me say, I do have a doctor, but she'll call me every 6 months or whatever. She knows I work with a naturopath. And the naturopath and I kind of help each other. She's learning about spirit and can see my pineal gland and Trish's ridiculous high numbers that they are, which she teaches me about a piece of me that I'm not always aware of or that is transforming. So you need to remember it's capable for anyone who's willing to put the love, I would say, most importantly, the experience of who you are, because you certainly are more than who's sitting here with me right now. And beginning to learn about that and addressing every little thing that happens and setting it free, you begin to come more and more and more light. Certainly, some of the things I've done, spending 3 months in Thailand, clearing with our teacher, was just one of the most profoundest things. And while we were there, the interesting thing, since we've been there, we've seen there's caves in Thailand, and we went with our group. It had to be 20 miles deep. And our faith in this group of 50 people, we went with a man who spoke only Thailand. He only had one little candle. And we went on this journey down through the caves, and we'd have to get through holes. We had to literally crawl through. And he brought us back to the beginning after we saw all these magnificent stalactites. And we were told there were elves and fairies in there, but they tended to try to pull people away because they don't like being alone. And we did see one man from a different group. Uh, he was walking the wrong way, and Douglas and I went and took one on each arm and brought him back to the group. So we knew that was true also. And we also did hear the roar of a dragon. So I don't know. We haven't been back, and I can tell you today, I probably would not take that journey. Some of the things I've done, I'm like, how did I ever do that? And I can only say to you, it was just pure faith. My teacher, very powerful. He's much, much older now. He still looks similar. And powerful being, powerful experience. And then you go, well, how'd that ever happen? So I could go off another whole level. We met a Buddha when we were there in one group that we went. He was 8, and he was given the gift there was a grand teacher, monk. His name was the Black Monkey. And he had recently passed, and there were 3 boys in his village who were given gifts. And don't ask me to pronounce his name. So there was our little 8-year-old boy, and there were 2 others. One gift was flying. One gift was something else. Now over time I've forgotten. But the gift the monk, the Buddha we met was to heal his heart. So I knew a few months after I went back home why I had met that young man, because I heal with my heart. I can speak to people and things shift. Because that day before that, I had fell and sprained my ankle. It was black. It was horrible. Someone had to help me limp to get there. So our teacher said, well, everyone gets one turn to ask for some physical ailment to be healed. Well, the first person that did wanted something in his tooth, and I thought, oh, what a ridiculous thing to ask. Still judgmental at that point. So my turn came, and I asked to have I believe it was my left foot again then, healed from the twisted ankle. And he just had this most beautiful smile at me, and the lady interpreter said, he says, Buddhas don't touch feet. He cannot help you. So I wasted mine altogether, and I was all in this flurry. And then all of a sudden, myself and the people around me saw all these like little black bugs coming out of my foot and going into the earth. And I got up and I could walk. My foot was fine. So what I knew happened is from his heart. He didn't have to touch my feet. His heart healed my foot, and I was great. So that little smile he gave me meant so much in words that that's okay. I'm going to touch you with my heart. So you can see, yes, I've had an amazing adventure, and I can go on and on here for hours. But a lot of faith. You have a lot of faith and believe in Mother and Father, and I'm getting chills all over me. You can have that magical adventure too, any of you. I was just a mom, had a divorce, actually had the second divorce right before I went to Thailand, and fell in love with the husband I have now. We just had our 30-year anniversary. You can't begin to imagine what's going to be life for you. And we live happy every day, not millionaires, but it's all in a matter of happiness. What can I say? We can make wherever we are home. So, there you go. I'm much over what time I would normally spend, and that's all okay. Because maybe there's someone there, one of you, that needed to hear what, with God, things that can really happen. Now, my children went through a part in my journey of thinking I was crazy. And my daughter and I are very close. My son no longer speaks to me. I have a grandson that's beautiful. He has golden hair that's long down his back, crystal blue eyes, and he's definitely an angel. And he flies around the soccer court, and he's now on his next level, being accepted to come and to try out for a regional team. So, who's to know why things happen, how things are happening? And thank you very much, Jules. It was just a weekend so ago. But it doesn't seem like it's been 30 years. It's like every day, waking up, you go on, you do your thing. And he's very spiritual. He was taught all by the masters. I remember in Thailand we would go to, they actually have Kuan Yin. What do we call them? Usually you would go to the Buddha places, but both of them celebrate each other, Buddha and Kuan Yin in Thailand. And she would have like they made a long cave. It was all one level that you would walk through to have her blessing and to have her work. Now, my husband's the one who is very much into Kuan Yin. I am the Buddha. So when we would sit where they have both statues together, we would sit and understand in that we found our oneness. So I am the Buddha and he is the Kuan Yin. Certainly opposite as I'm female Buddhist, male. It was very interesting how it happened. And it's never changed. That's who Kuan Yin, I know she exists and she's powerful, but she isn't one who works with me. Buddha is. Just like I say, Lord Gautama Buddha brings forth his protective blue flame to surround our outer fields. All you need to do is ask him. So there is so much yet still to discover. I'm still reading things I didn't know from before. I appreciate that. My toe will appreciate that. And to yours too, Barbara. May healing be the words that are getting spoken today. I'm sorry if I spoke too much about something that may not be interesting. I don't know. It's still fascinating to me because I was there. And I think when I went to go there, I was concerned about having to take skirts because there's a certain place you go, you can only have a skirt on. I certainly didn't own one. And then what it became, and not an issue. You can really begin to see what becomes issues and what don't. So let's see, Lauren. No, today not my anniversary. It was on July 8th. And certainly enjoyed being with you this morning. I'm going to go do some light treatments on my foot. And I want you all to have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday. And we'll learn some level of healing that I've touched or remember or do. And we'll just continue growing. And a shout out to you, Dorothy, from the past to come in to see today. Maybe you want to come more often. And on Tuesday, we do messages from Mother. And I have to say myself, yesterday was one of the most powerful ones I've ever heard. You know what it is? It's because you're all growing. You're all growing. And that's a wonderful awareness to have inside your heart. So, see what you find out about the soul this weekend. Can you just go in and find it? And can you feel the energy as it expands out? That would be great. Love to everybody. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.